Hello everyone and welcome to another update on the market. For today, I decided to cover USD versus Japanese yen. I will speak about the gold market, crude oil, Bitcoin versus US dollar and dollar index. I will start with the USD versus Japanese yen first. What we have here is the hourly time frame of the USD versus Japanese yen, and we can see that there was this morning we had a breakout of the supply trend lines, and I went to the past just to see what kind of price action we had here, and we can see that this is some bigger channeling, more like a wedge, and then there is some more like a sub trend lines like this supply trend line, and we have this major supply trend line, and most recently we actually broke this tight triangle. So we have a very good indication for the further higher prices on the USD Japanese yen, like a main scenario for this currency pair. So the upside objectives, we can see that there is an important pivot level, and I will just put here this area. So this is a 140, I'll say 144.50, 145 area is a very important area from the background. And if we can see the more power, and if this breakout can hold, there is a chance for the retest of that level. Anything meaningful to the downside, I would like to see some bigger supply, eventually the market to come back into to below the supply trend line, and if we can see the breakout of this most recent rising trend line, that will be also confirmation and hold below for the further retest of, let's say, pin bar around 140.50 or 140.30. But at this point, based on the price action, based on the condition and the background, the upside scenario is most likely to develop. Speaking of the gold market, so the view basically unchanged from my previous update. So the downside scenario is still most likely at this point. We had a breakout of the rising trend line in the background. Market actually tried to rally here, and we have a failed rally. Market took actually the low. I placed the Fibonacci levels, expansion levels. We can see the 100% at around 2050 and 161.8 from this A, B, C points. 161.8% Fibonacci at 2030. Supply trend line, we can put this supply trend line. So far sellers are in control, and there is a chance for the market to go lower towards those downside objective. We also have the low where actually we started this whole upside extension at the 2015 mark. So that's the most likely scenario based on the price action in the background. Anything meaningful to the upside, I would like to see the breakout of 2080 and hold above this level in order for this to potentially retest 2090 mark. Speaking of the crude oil is going downside. We can see that yesterday there was a big supply came in the market. We can see this is also the secondary leg here. So there is I think high chance for the market to retest a 68 area, which is the low from December 13th. And we will see how this will develop, but so far sellers are in control with any significant reversal or any bigger momentum loss. So sellers in control and potential for retest of 67.80 mark. For the upside scenario, should be lots of work. So market will need, from my perspective, to trade above 71.20, try to hold at that point, and then potentially to establish scenario for the retest of 73.42. But as I said, based on today's momentum and the previous and the yesterday in the background, we also had the breakout of the rising trend line in the background. So far, hold this background in the last, I will say, 10 days is indicating further downside, and the downside scenario is most likely at this point. We can also place the supply trend line. So this is the supply trend line. In case of some rally, there will be potential also for the downside continuation of this one. Those are the alternative scenarios. But so far, momentum is to the downside. Speaking of the gold market, we already covered that. Crude oil we covered, so Bitcoin is the next market. We can see here that market had a breakout of this contraction of this triangle, but so far market seems like it's holding, but still no confirmation. So we're building another tight consolidation at this point. Can the market trade higher and hold above to potentially build up towards the 47,000 mark or 48,000 mark? Or we can see the downside break back into the consolidation. Or there is a maybe even scenario for the fake breakout to the upside like this one. Now this will be something to just watch and pay attention. So far it's consolidation that is going on between the, let's say, resistance at 46,000 and support and swing low at 44,630. So I think this will be more time for market to build in this consolidation, and then potential for the breakout mode on the Bitcoin versus US dollar. And speaking of the dollar index, we can see that market traded higher. We didn't have a problem around those pivot levels. Market just traded upside. We have the rising trend line in the background, and for now there is a next pivot around 100, 260, 100, 250 mark. So there is a chance for test of that level, and that's a likely scenario. We have some consolidation at this point. We can see, will this develop into the further higher prices, or maybe some pullback and then reaction higher, or simply just to break upside and continue towards the next reference points. If there is something meaningful to the upsides, and if market can break 100, 260 and so, then the next main pivot zone, I will say, is around 103 mark. That will be all for this update, guys. I hope that you did enjoy. Have a good trading day, and speak to you from tomorrow morning.